Hey, I'm Jamie from Stonemaier Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite mechanism in Star Wars the deck building game Clone Wars Edition. This is the new version, new standalone version of one of my favorite games of last year, Star Wars the deck building game, which is primarily a two-player dueling game where each player has their own starting deck of cards and their own cards that appear in a shared galaxy row. That if they're your cards in the galaxy row, you can buy them and add them to your deck. If they are not your cards, they're either neutral or they are your opponent's cards, and that opponent can and you can take out those opponent's cards using the military force resource in the game. That is still in the game. That is very much still in the game. This is the same, like we didn't have to learn any new rules to understand how to play this game. This simply offers two new decks in the game. So instead of playing as the Empire and the Resistance, you are playing as the Republic or the Separatists. And they're each of those two factions has their own new mechanisms that really shine in the game, but they still use that same Galaxy Rogue mechanism that I love, and they still also use the other mechanism that I really love from the original game, which is that when your base is destroyed, because typically you win the game after you destroy 3 bases of your opponents, after your base is destroyed, you pick from a deck of cards, not a deck, but an assortment of cards, assortment of new bases that either comes in a play abilities or ongoing abilities. And it is a great choice. I love the design of the bases. I love the choice. It really makes that moment in the game where you are failing, where your base is destroyed, where you're moving towards losing, it makes it a fun moment because you get to come out strong for the next phase of the game with your new base that you got to choose. Love that mechanism. Love the Galaxy Row. I wanted to briefly touch upon the two primary new mechanisms that the new factions were designed around. So let's start with the Republic. I've played as both of these now. The Republic, their primary new mechanism is revealing cards from the top of the deck and doing things with those cards. So for example, this V19 Torrent says, reveal the top card of your deck, you may discard it. There are other cards like this that say you may draw it if it is a certain type of card, or you may put it back. There are even some cards that let you put specific cards on top of the deck or swap the top of the deck with a card in your discard pile or your hand. So there's a lot of interactions with the top of your deck, giving you the feeling of of scouting, of maybe using the force a little bit to see what the future is and interacting with that specific card on the top of the deck. So I thought this was a great mechanism. I really like that they designed the Republic around this mechanism. Then there are the Separatists, the droid armies from the prequels, the Star Wars prequels. And for the Separatists, they deal a lot with disregarding their own units. So they treat themselves as disposable. Kind of like in the movies, how like the cheaper drones and drone troopers in particular, they're just kind of disposable CGI in the movies, and I think this deck really leans into that idea. So for example, this B2 battle droid says, exile a Separatist card from the Galaxy Row. If you do, draw 1 card. So again, Separatists, this is the Separatist faction, and so you're exiling your own card from the Galaxy Row and drawing a card as a result. So you're treating your own units as disposable. They have a lot of mechanisms like this, where a lot of exiling from either the Galaxy Row, from your discard pile, from your hand, treating the Separatist cards, your own cards, as disposable units. Which I thought was really interesting. And I really like that there are a number of them that deal with the Galaxy Row itself, because it keeps the Galaxy Row fresh, because you have an incentive to get cards out of the Galaxy Row. In this case, your own cards, you're getting them out of the way. And in getting them out of the way, you're actually taking away a decision space for your opponent, because they have fewer cards that they can use their power to take out of the Galaxy Row themselves, because you've already done it for them. So yeah, the whole disposable element of Separatists and the revealing and information scouting side of the Republic, I really like that these two new factions are built around those mechanisms in the Clone Wars version of the deck building game. And if you are wondering, I have looked into this. I haven't done it yet, but we are going to do it soon. If you want to, you can. If you already have the original game and you're wondering if you should get this one, I am really happy that I have both now. I'm going to put both in the same box, and you can. You can't exactly combine the factions, but I can take all the cards for the Republic, for example, and play against any of the other 3 existing factions now. It takes a little card sorting where you have to sort out the cards for that faction and then put them back in. And for the neutral cards, you play with either set of the neutral cards. Not all the neutral cards because it was too heavily dilute the deck, but you can play with the new neutral cards, which are uniquely designed, or the original neutral cards from the original deck building game. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below if you've played this or if you just have any deck building game that has factions like this that have a certain mechanism that they're built around that you really want to highlight. I'd love to hear about that in the comments below. Thanks.